All right, all right. Thank you for coming back and tuning in with your boy on this beautiful Thursday on Trust Talk Thursdays. Give it up to ourselves. For those who's at the job, we almost there. We off on the weekend. It's almost Friday. It's almost Friday. Hopefully, this good word is going to get you through today, and it's going to bring you to a good Friday, right? TGIF, right? We thank God it's Friday when it happens, and here comes Saturday, and here comes Sunday. I ain't gonna lie, you guys. It's the summertime. My kids about to be out of school. I'm about to be bombarded all day, every day. And, Loki was enjoying it while they was in school. Let me stop. But they see this. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys tuning in for sure. Today we're gonna talk about some trust. We talk about public and private trust and kind of some of the moving parts of public and private trust. First and foremost, just understand your trust does not have to be in another country to be considered private. Your trust does not have to be in another country to be considered private. Okay? There's all types of ways we can make a trust private without actually touching any soil in another country. Now, not to say there's something wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong having a trust, Cayman Island, Cook Islands, wherever you have it. Okay? It's nothing wrong with that. I just say understanding administration, how that works, get to know the laws of the countries, how it works, because of course if something were to happen, and you want to pass that same knowledge down to your kids on the hows, right? I can get the fish for you, or I can teach you how to fish, right? I'm more like, teach me how to fish. How do I do this? How do I sustain it? If something were to happen to the law firm where, maybe it goes down, who knows, right? I need to know how I could administer this myself, or how I can recreate the same will you created for me, for my heirs, if something were to happen to me, right? How can I pass down this information? So anytime you are dealing in trust, look at it from an aspect of, I'm not just trying to hide, protect assets from creditors, and the like, right? I'm actually passing down behavior patterns, you guys. You are passing down behavior patterns. It ain't just about the asset. You can give a crack kid $1 million right now. He gonna go smoke it. Okay, all of it. So get out your mind that you just have to have money or something liquid in all. I mean, yes, you have to have that. And I'm gonna say have to. I would more say it'd be advantageous for you to have it, for the fact that it gives the beneficiaries motivation, right? Well, how do we motivate the beneficiaries to continue what we started? Well, that's by leaving behind some liquid, some asset that they can see that your hard work was really worth it, right? Like, I got all these books here in the background. My kids can't eat that if something happens to me. Well, how do I get my children to understand why I had all these books? How can I get my children to understand why every night they stay me up late hours at night when they go get water in the middle of the night? I'm up, I'm doing content, I'm reading, I'm doing something, right? How can I get that same behavior patterns going in my family for generations to come? By enforcing behavior patterns through trust. Enforce those behavior patterns. Well, what do I mean? Well, you may say, well, I don't. One, what do you mean, and how do I do it? Well, one, you gotta have something for them to strive for. Okay, you have to give them something to strive for. All right, and there's many ways we can create liquidity or create some form of cash that you can use as a tool for your kids to strive to achieve whatever it is that you want them to achieve, to be able to access that capital, that income, that cash, that asset, and you will put certain things in place that will ensure that they are to develop these behavior patterns so that by the time this wealth gets passed down to the third generation, they're not lazy. You know, they say that most trusts don't go beyond 50 years because by the third generation, they're pretty freaking lazy. Everything has been handed to them through a trust. They get paid X amount of money every year for the rest of their lives. They grow into incompetent, materialistic individuals. And I don't mean like incompetent, just straight out, just stupid, but incompetent on how money works, how the law works, how trust works. And they get so incompetent to a point to where if they're not careful on how it's structured and specifically, if there's a trustee company of attorneys that may just be squandering the estate away or intermeddling or yeah, wasting funds, right? And you'll be oblivious to it because you don't have the understanding nor the behavior patterns or the discipline to instill and act out those behavior patterns that's required. So having a trust is beyond just having wealth. Okay. You are begetting a new generation and you are actually creating the habits you see to be fit for your family goal and mission that will continue the golden age or that will bring about the golden age in your family. Okay. And we all have uh, these attributes, what we call human capital, that is way more important than the asset. Because without the human capital, there's no asset. The human intellect, the human labor, your social network and capabilities. It's not about what you know, it's who you know, right? I say that for a reason. Um, the financial capabilities, not just having the money, but the understanding on how to keep it as well, how to reinvest it, etc. What to reinvest it in, because you know, and no shot at crypto, but crypto might be good right now. But what do you have in place to ensure that if it's not good, that the trustees have that discretion along with um, the proper tools and resources required to ensure they can make the best decision for the beneficiaries at the time that decisions need to be made, and where that the beneficiary can be fully abreast, equipped with that knowledge on the duties of the trustee and um, how how his position works and how the capital is working, how the investments he's investing in is working. So you could kind of monitor and see how that is done. So you can teach that same habit and lifestyle. Because look at it like this: when the grantor passes on, essentially, even though the asset is being passed down to the beneficiary is like becoming a grantor himself. because he's going to put his assets, and he's going to be allowed, depending on the trust, to put his assets inside this same trust to be passed down to the next generation. Now, you might say trust is against perpetuities. Now, there's ways around that. It's not a session for that. So we can get it to where the trust can last for generations and not play with that perpetuity doctrine when it comes to trust. So, you know, it's important that the beneficiary is fully informed and have that skill and knowledge and education required to continue that generational wealth. Okay. So again, as I will reiterate, the asset is important, but the human capital is far more important than the asset. That will continue the growth of the asset. A human capital will continue that. Make sure the asset continues to accumulate and is protected and preserved. All right. Now, I also recommend for the beneficiary or for the trust that you install, rather, a trust protector. He's like the oversight committee. You ever heard of oversight committee, like of a board, right? It's like the overseer to ensure that the trustee is doing his job. And may have that power to remove that trustee when it's shown that he is not competent, fit, or is breaching the trust due to acting outside of his scope of the economic reality set forth in the trust. And I also recommend, enter into contracts with families. I mean, if you look at a lot of these other wealthy families, they actually enter into forms of agreements, business transactions, and contracts with other families. I mean, back then, getting married was like a contract. When they marry off their daughters and sons and things like that, it was a business transaction. I'm not saying we need to go back to those days. I mean, kind of, sort of, and don't take what I said as kind of, sort of, as a full broad, as a, pinpointed of me saying, yeah, we need to go back strictly to those times. There's some things I do agree with those times and some things I don't agree with. But we need to treat our trust like that. Because I say that because if you have families who are not as interested or doesn't have an interest in your estate, and you can maybe create some form of family office with them where you guys administer each other's estates, that will create or that will lessen a lot of conflict of, maybe someone who's an interest party, i.e. a beneficiary, having control and administration of the trust. You kind of want to keep that separate. You want a beneficiary to be the beneficiary and the trustee just to be the trustee. You really don't want him to be both. So you might feel like, well, there's nobody I trust. Because, some people say, well, there's nobody I trust in my family to take on this position. And you might be thinking, well, there's nobody I trust outside of that either. Well, then, sadly, you shouldn't be doing trust. Because trust is all about having confidence. And don't worry, there's safeguards that are in place if that individual were to breach trust. There's safeguards for that. But, you have to take on the responsibility in educating yourself and your beneficiaries to these safeguards. Uh, so I recommend having third parties, whether it's a company or, a third party individual who is not interested, or has no interest in the estate or the asset, be a trustee, and you pay them a percent. And whether that percent is just between you and that individual. And the reason why you want to pay them that, because you then can enforce it as a contract. You can't enforce a gift. A gift is love and affection. You can't enforce love and affection through court. Me volunteering to do something is a form of love and affection, in which you cannot volunteer me to perform that love and affection in a court of equity, or any court at that matter, because I did it voluntarily. I didn't have to. But if you've given me some form of consideration, something of value, some cash equivalent, in which I agree to accept, that can be enforced in a court of equity. Okay? So, and if I don't perform, and I've accepted that performance, I accepted that offer of consideration, I don't perform, now we have a breach. And breach of trust can really typically hold felony charges. Again, like, well, now I got to learn what breach is and how that works. I mean, hey, learn it. Be that one in your family to learn it and pass it down to your children, because you never know. The next generation will be, even before you get out of here, you may come across a nice set of money. You may become very wealthy, high end demand. You just don't know. And to already be equipped with the information is great, uh, and to be able to pass this down is great, because that next generation might be that generation. All this work you're doing now might be, it's a sacrifice you're making for that next generation. That might be that pop. That might be that golden age for your bloodline. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in on this Trust Talk Thursdays. As always, stay diligent and vigilant in your efforts. Educate yourself. I am not an attorney, and this is not a law firm. The information I'm providing is for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only. I'll be coming back at you with another one, so stay tuned for it. Please hit that like and share button for me. If you don't like and share, I don't know if you're enjoying this content and if I should keep it coming or not. So we highly appreciate that. Accepting all donations as well at $, uppercase X, lowercase I, uppercase A, lowercase MARU, uppercase ALI. So that's she, Amaru Ali. And of course, the handsome young man will pop up under Minister Ali. Sending any donation there. Of course, you'll be like, oh, you asked for a donation? Yes, I'm asking for donations. I'm not demanding it. You can send $1. I don't care, honestly. But I will highly appreciate it. All this time and effort for me to give out this information, all the study and all the stuff back here. You want me to give you this sauce? You can at least donate to your boy. You can at least donate. I'm fighting a good fight. Donate. All right? That wasn't just off of the humbug, that was with hard work, late nights, right? To get where I'm at, to give you what I'm giving you, that a lot of people won't be willing to give you for free. Of course, with the age of the internet, there's a lot of stuff you can learn off this thing, to be honest with you. But again, no pressure. Just if you like to, do so. If not, respect. No problem at all. But as always, stay tuned. Like and share as I stated. Live in equity. It's my YouTube channel. Go check us out. I'll be developing podcast channels coming soon, so stay on the lookout for that. Till then, I'm going to upload this on the Living Equity channel, so I hope you guys will follow that as well. I put link in the comment section. And until next time, family, enjoy. See you guys tomorrow on Family Law Fridays. We out. Holla.